Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the home of NASCAR's championship weekend. And tonight at LSRTV at iRacing Live, it is the season finale for the 2015-2016 Real Sim Racing Icebreaker Winter Series, presented by Hippie's Paint Shop, round number 10. Get set to roll from the Homestead of Miami Speedway. This is the Homestead 195, and we're happy to have you along for the ride with us. As always, on Monday night, it's going to bring you topside into the LSRTV broadcast tower. Myself, Evan Pasoko, and Jacob Seelman, along with Andy Kessler, topside at LSRTV producer Cisco Scaramuza in the production trailer, getting us here this afternoon. Jacob, 3 points, that's it. It's going to make things very fun tonight. Chad Cole, EJ O'Rourke, two names that could walk out of here as an RSR champion and do so deservingly. Only one of them, though, is going to be able to walk away with the hardware.
And Chad Cole's been having connection issues all afternoon, Evan, so this is really going to be a shaky night all the way through till we get the green flag, and even all the way through this race, Evan. It's a winner-take-all scenario. Cole wins the race, he wins the title outright. Cole finishes ahead of EJ O'Rourke, he wins the title outright. EJ O'Rourke wins the race. No matter what Chad Cole does, EJ wins the championship. So there's a lot to be decided here. Again, both of these two very deserving. EJ's been close to an Icebreaker title a couple of times before. Cole's won it twice, looking to go 3 for 3 in the seasons he's run in this series. And hey, when you're the RSR all-time wins leader, why not?
And it has been a little bit of time since Chad Cole has hosted an RSR championship trophy. Tonight would be a perfect night for him to do so. Andy, we talk about Chad Cole, EJ O'Rourke, both at the top of the championship standings, and both almost running identical seasons. Both drivers have started all 9 races. They each have a trip to victory lane, and they both have 4 top 5 finishes. The thing that I was looking at when we looked at the championship standings on the screen, though, outside of the championship picture, which is obviously going to be the big talking point for tonight's 130 lap race, is the names like Matt Lacrosse third, or Tyler Herr running in 4th, or even a Mike Kelly 6th in the points. The only driver top 10 in points that has not started all 9 races. Kelly has only earned points at 8 starts so far this season. Those are the names that, well, they're not going to be talked about a whole lot during the race tonight. We do need to congratulate them as well at the end of the race for the amazing seasons that they have had, because for a lot of the new talent, 2015 was a good year, and 2016 is already bringing more heat on these veterans. Although they're not in the championship conversation tonight, I have a feeling throughout the rest of this year on Monday nights, those are some names we're going to have to keep an eye on.
Oh, most definitely. And you're also going to have to keep an eye on those names, I think, tonight. I mean, one of the hottest drivers over the last couple of weeks has definitely been Tyler Herr with a win a couple weeks ago at California, and then, of course, last week's second place finish. So Tyler's been on a roll, and his stats aren't too far off from those guys ahead of him. He does have a win. He's short of top 5 and the top 10 from those guys, and thus that's why his points are obviously a little bit less than those guys. But he is going to be one of those guys, and there's other names all throughout this field here tonight that we're going to have to keep an eye on come Monday night. Guys like Eberhard also are another name that been strong all season long, hasn't run all the races. He's made a trip to victory lane, plus he's led a lot of laps. So, I mean, there's a lot of newcomers to the league that have definitely done good things, both in the Icebreaker Series and the Outlaw Trucks.
And Chad Cole and EJ O'Rourke last round at the Chicagoland Speedway 1 week ago right here on LSRTV. Cole walked away with the top 3 finish, as it was Anthony DeBarro who went on to take home the checkered flag, and then EJ O'Rourke finished 10th in that race. EJ into tonight with that result dropping to 2nd. Chad Cole took over the top of the championship ladder. So we look forward to tonight's race. Homestead of Miami Speedway. We have seen this track play hosted the NASCAR Championship for quite some time now, and it has been a staple mark as the season finale in RSR, Jacob. And it is a very interesting intermediate racetrack. 1.5 miles, sure, but it's an oval, not a quad oval, not a tri-oval. It has unique characteristics, and we've seen not only crazy championship battles come into this race itself, but we have seen some wild things go down at this track in the last couple of years.
Yeah, we really have, and I think it's going to be no different tonight. You talk about 2 wide, 3 wide racing through some of these corners. And with as much talent as in this field, I think you may be surprised at how the race result itself turns out tonight. A track where traditionally steel horse racing has been very strong, proven in qualifying. Tonight they are equally as strong, with the top 3 positions and 4 of the top 6 in qualifying right now. So a lot of good going on there, Evan. And as we get set to roll, I think it's about time to send it trackside.
It is. The drivers just about done with their 15-minute open qualifying session. The number 15 on top as we head to the final minute. So with that, we'll toss things down trackside for tonight's opening ceremonies and down with Wesley Bryant for tonight's national anthem. The Homestead of Miami Speedway hosted the Ford EcoBoost 400, the Ford EcoBoost 300, and the Ford EcoBoost 200. It's NASCAR Championship Week. Tonight, though, it is RSR Icebreaker Championship Night, and we're set to roll for the Homestead 195. We'll take a look trackside to your inside sim racing starting grid. It is Scott Eckridge. He'll steal it from Jeff Ward in the final 60 seconds. Throws down a 31.621 to take away the pole position. It'll bump the 15 of Ward to start shotgun on the front row in P2. Danbury's number 5 going to start tonight in 3rd spot. 4th for David Comstock. And last week's winner, Anthony DeBarro, will roll from 5th.
The good thing about Eckridge stealing that pole, Evan, all 3 of those front cars are teammates at Steel Horse Racing, so I'd say, or at least on the Cup side, they've been teammates in the past, so I'd say there's not a whole lot of worry there. Starting 6th, though, tonight, going to be Rhett McBride in the 2. Christopher Herlow going to roll from 7th in the 87 for Boomtown Sim. Adam Benefiel in his final Real Sim Racing start tonight. Going to be looking to go out with a win. Starts 8th. EJ O'Rourke looking for a championship. The highest of the championship contenders in 9th and 10th. Matt Lacrosse.
11th starting spot here tonight will be the Cup Series champion, Dwayne Vincent. Mike Rominger's going to start 12th. 13th goes to the 55 of Tyler Herr. Corbin Hemstreet's going to start 14th and 15th to Mitch Rollo.
And a championship leader into tonight by just 3 points. Chad Cole will roll from 16th on the grid. At a row next behind him, 17th at a 69 of William Amaker, making his 100th career RSR start tonight. The 11 of Jonathan Cadell will roll from 18th position. 19th is Nelson Rivera, and Daniel E. Eberhardt is in 20th.
And you're going to see the rest of your starting grid roll on the screen, Evan. Why don't we touch base with the championship leader coming in tonight and have him as our in-race reporter. See if we can't dial up Chad Cole real quick.
Chad Cole, it's Evan Pasoko, Jacob Seaman, Andy Kessler topside. You get a copy?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Chad, you're coming into tonight's race. You guys are rolling, getting set to get underway. 3 points is the advantage, but you're starting 16th on the grid. How do you get the championship tonight?
Yeah, we're hoping to, kind of battling some connection issues with the internet and didn't really get the amount of qualifying time or practice time I'd like. So just going to have to do it in the race, and hopefully the connection holds out, and hopefully put on a good show for you guys too. It's been a lot of fun battling with EJ this winter series.
Well,
We're looking forward to this, 130 laps. Chad, best of luck.
Thank you, guys.
So with that, the lights are off on top of the pace car, and we are set for the final race on this 2015-2016 RSR Icebreaker Winter Series Championship campaign. And all that stands between us and handing out some hardware is 130 laps and 195 miles. We're happy to have you with us, as always, on LSRTV and iRacing Live. The pace car going to make the sharp left-hand turn down and away. Pole sitter at the front of the field, Scott Eckridge, going to bring us underneath the flag stand. Green flag in the air for the final time this year, racing to turn number 1 in Homestead.
Yeah, and Eckridge gets away quickly by about 2.5 car lengths. That multicolor ribbon turn number 2 here, and Jeff Ward forced to settle in behind the pole sitter. Behind them, though, it's a quick mess as Anthony DeBarro dives to the bottom of the racetrack, going for third on David Comstock. A great early start for the driver of that number 9 Camaro. He slides into P3. DeBarro on the move, chasing those top 2, but it's going to be Eckridge who leads lap 1.
First bit of side by side inside the top 5. We're 3 wide. Back of the pack, though, inside. Christopher Hurlow, the 87 Chevrolet. He'll make a move back for 8th position. In front of them, the battle's on for the race lead, though. The 15, Jeff Ward up the bottom. He makes it 2 wide, and now 3 wide with the 9 on the inside. In turn number 3, it's on the inside. Anthony DeBarro trying to get the job done. He can't hold it, though, on the inside. The 15 going to push high off of turn number 4. It'll be a drag race. 2 wide, 2 rows deep. Advantage is to Jeff Ward, though. The 15 going to lead the first lap of the race for him, and that 70 is Scott Eckridge, your pole sitter, already back in 4th spot. And now back at 1 and 2. Inside, Andy going to be the place to be for the nod of Anthony DeBarro. He'll slide clear at a turn number 2 now in front.
And just like that, for some 3 wide action, now the top 6 are all single file into turn number 3. Comstock's not going to have anything of that, though. He goes to the inside of Jeff Ward, looking for that 2nd spot. He's trying to bring Eckridge with him. Eckridge will have to slide up behind of Ward right there, and look at it right behind those guys. The 83 of Adam Benefield still trying to make something of Christopher Hurlow. Not able to do it, as all these guys for a second almost made contact right there. Ward able to slide it in line again. Single file now off 2.
And I can't promise you that they did not get together a little bit, but it was tight. And that 15 machine on the outside trying to pinch the 14 down. Comstock got the pass done, same way that the round of Anthony DeBarro got the pass done on a 15 just the lap prior. So it was the 70 the first time around, it was the 15 the second, and since then DeBarro's gone to P1, and Comstock has jumped up to 2nd. The driver's running 1-2 right now, started at P5 and P4 on the racetrack. The inside getting the upper hand on the initial jump of the race, but again, Homestead is not only an interesting track at its layout, but as well, you're looking at a racetrack that's working with progressive banking, 18 to 20 degrees. The more rubber that gets put down, a little bit more options that are handed out to these drivers. Top 4 single file. They're still on top of each other, side by side behind for 5th. Benefield going to take a spot away from Hurlow, and they'll battle for the race lead at a 4. Short-lived. Comstock took a peek to the inside, didn't get anything from it.
He had a look, and he had to settle back in. Now he goes deep to the inside of the racetrack in turns 1 and 2. The Monster Energy, number 14, and David Comstock with a good run through the center of the corner. Down the back straightaway, they go wheel to wheel for the top spot. DeBarro topside. Comstock dives it in deep again into turn number 3. This time he's going to have the advantage, make the slide across the nose, and we're going to have a new leader, the 4th leader in 6 laps in this race.
And it's still fluid up at the front of the field. That 14 first lap win tonight, and it comes as lap 6 of 130 goes into the books. And your top 4, well, they continue to swap out spots. They're not getting away from each other at all. The 15 of Jeff Ward still in front of the 70. Look at the 83 of Benefield, though, outside. The 70 of Eckridge slid wide. The 83 dove to the bottom. The I Can't Design Toyota now to make a challenge on the inside of the racetrack. It is side by side for fourth. He'll get it hooked up, and he'll beat the 70 off of the corner. Eckridge all the way up to the fence, and a good enough of a run so Andy he can get all the way to the inside on the 15 to Jeff Ward. Not enough though to challenge, but Benefield will slot up to fourth spot, and now he wants to try the outside.
Yeah, being on that bottom side, they're just not able to carry that momentum coming off the corner with someone to their outside. They can't travel that car up to the wall, so in turn that loses a lot of straightaway speed, and you see the guys having problems with that as they come off the corner. They really have to get them clear on corner entry if they want a chance at all to make the passes. Benefield now looks to the inside, real close right there, almost took the nose off of Jeff Ward. Give Jeff Ward obviously giving him a break there a little early. I'm sure later in the race he wouldn't have let off there.
All 32 drivers that were slated to start tonight's Homestead 195 took the grid. All 32 drivers still on the lead lap. At lap number 9, all behind Comstock, though, it's DeBarro, Benefield, Ward, Eckridge inside of the top 5. And a battle between the 15 and the 70 continues. Pole sitter Scott Eckridge going to take that spot back after the 15. Took it away from him on lap number 2. 70 going to get the number 4 spot back. Get a little bit of contact. That time off the corner, the 50 to Jeff Ward, all the way up to the back bumper of the 70 of Eckridge. He'll give him a shot down to turn number 1. No teammate love amongst these guys, and he'll move that 70 up and out of the groove. Now Jeff Ward to the inside, side by side. Battle is for fourth.
Down the back straightaway, another back. Side by side a moment ago, settles out now though. Chad Cole started 16th, has moved his way up to the top 10 and trying to do battle. He had a lane on Corbin Hemstreet a moment ago for that 9th position, Evan. The championship leader trying to make up the gap right now. They would be dead even, and EJ O'Rourke, Chad Cole tied for the championship lead as they run. O'Rourke rides 7th, Cole rides 10th. Cole wants to be riding a few spots ahead of that, but he's got to be patient here, just 10 laps in. Still a long way to go.
I know we made a comment off of the bike when we went going that these guys aren't taking it easy as far as saving the tires based on what we've seen up front with a 70 of Eckridge followed away, and he got a good race car. Mentioned that he took the pole away from that time provisional pole sitter Jeff Ward as we stepped away for the anthem. Took the top spot away in the final 60 seconds, but being the second fastest car in practice, not all that much of a surprise. However, he's really struggling now. Again, he was in the 4th spot. Jeff Ward challenged, took the spot back, and the 15 got real tight at a turn number 2. Christopher Hurlow was able to take the number 5 spot away as well. So Scott Eckridge now back in P6, and he's got EJ O'Rourke and Matt Lacrosse not all that far behind him. That could be a good battle here at about 2-3 laps if the 93 and the 21 keep closing in on him at about a 10th a lap.
Battle for second, starting to heat up now in turns 1 and 2. Everybody, we were watching, and I was starting to see Anthony DeBarro start to run down David Comstock, Andy, for the race lead. But now, look who's run them both down in turn number 3. Adam Benefield's come from almost a second back on these two to be looking to the inside, Andy, for that second spot off 4.
Oh, into the fence, Matt Lacrosse, the 21, got high in the middle of 3 and 4. He was digging with EJ O'Rourke, and the 21 just got too high up at a turn number 3, Andy, right side into the fence. It cost him a ton of time. It'll cost him 7 spots as the 96 and the 13 get around him. He'll try to get it back up the speed, and in fact, he'll challenge the 96 of Mitch Rollo back for what is going to be the 12th spot on track, but a tough lick for Matt Lacrosse, who started P10, was just about inside of the top 5. Now he's back where he started.
Yeah, that's what this track will actually do to you, is give you that false sense of hope there to when you're in the center of the corner. You feel like that car is right where you need it to be. You get on the throttle, and it just gets too tight and pushes you right up to the wall. That's exactly what happened right there to Matt Lacrosse. Just oversight on his part as we're about 15 laps into it. This is where the tires start wearing off for these guys too. So the push up right there, not surprised it happened this early for at least somebody. Just Matt Lacrosse was the first one to have it bite him.
And that's the driver that was 3rd in points coming into this race. Still had an outside shot at it. The top 2 in points, though, right now are nose to tail on the racetrack, Evan, or at least they were until Chad Cole just got really squirrely off turn 4 and gave up some gap. Cole's now moved to the 8th position from 16th. EJ O'Rourke, he can see the back deck lid of that 93 in 7th. If these two were to sit like this, Cole wouldn't have to do anything else. But we know Chad Cole, he doesn't just go out to win a championship. He goes out to win the race. He's worked his way halfway through the field already in just 15 laps, and he almost gets a piece of the wall right there off 4.
He's been digging, but don't get too greedy. He did get real close to defense that time before. In fact, he was almost at EJ O'Rourke. Going to put up a fight, and now no longer because he's playing on the defensive. It's the 2. We keep adding more drivers into the mix. Normally, we get an opening stretch. We'll talk about 3, 4, 5 guys. Well, there's a whole lot of people moving forward, and equally as many guys dropping backwards. The next driver on the charge, Rhett McBride, started 6th, fell outside of the top 10 in the opening laps. He's trying to get back forward, and he'll take a spot away for the 8 machine of Chad Cole. He now puts himself in between EJ O'Rourke and Chad Cole, and that puts that championship down to basically a dead draw as they run right now. Only 18 laps in, though, out of 130, but if this is any indication on how this race is going to go, this battle for the championship going to go all the way down to the wire. And that 2 machine powers up the inside, and it actually looked like O'Rourke backed it off into turn number 3, waved him on by. The 93 car now drops back into P8, and now once again just 1 spot in front of Chad Cole as Corbin Hemstreet doing some digging of his own. Look at the 41 on the outside, trying to get inside the top 10.
How about a change for second just ahead of them? A lap or 2 ago now, Evan, Adam Benefiel has dispatched the 9 of Anthony DeBarro to move into that runner-up spot. The problem is it took him almost 2 full laps to do away with DeBarro, who's really starting to come back on him now, and that's left the 14 of David Comstock able to get away to about an 8-car length, 0.7 of a second, basically last time by the stripe, and that gap continues to grow a little bit. So you talk about getting a little bit greedy and maybe burning stuff up early. Benefiel had to do some work to get up to second from 8th, and now he's left David Comstock with enough to get away from everybody.
And not that David Comstock hasn't been working, but going 8th to 2nd is a lot more work than 4th to 1st. The 14 of Machine methodical about it. The 83 hasn't been so fortunate. He's had to get a little bit physical for it and almost contact with him and Anthony DeBarro. The 9 Boomtown Sim Chevy a little bit hard that time, but in turn number 3, just about clipped that Toyota in front of him in the right rear. There is no contact for 2nd and 3rd, and another lap goes by, another 1/10 of a second into the bank in favor of Adam Benefiel, or rather in favor of David Comstock to Adam Benefiel, and it's Benefiel in front of Anthony DeBarro. But that 9 machine, although the 83 just put the move on him, Andy, a couple of laps ago, DeBarro making sure that he is not disposed of the wayside. He's keeping the pressure hot on the heels of the 83, and if anything, these guys continuing to battle is the best thing that David Comstock can see.
Yeah, these cars on this track, definitely a momentum-based type track for these cars, and you see Benefiel actually pull over right there and let DeBarro go by, and partly because DeBarro could stay with him was the draft. The draft does play an effect here off these corners, down these long straightaways for these guys, so that definitely came into play and allowed DeBarro to able to stay with him. So as you can see right now, the 83 being able to come right back up to his bumper, and these two are going to be playing like this for a while, it seems, but all the time while these guys battle like this, that's exactly what's going to give David Comstock an even bigger of a lead, and right now it's going to probably push it over about a second that time by, and it sure does, 1.2, so Comstock's loving what he sees in his rearview mirror.
Well, I'm loving what I'm seeing in the rearview mirrors right now. Battle for 6th and a huge battle. They've changed it, Evan, 5 times in the last 2 laps around here. The 70 of Scott Eckridge and the 2 of Rhett McBride will not give this battle up. Every time one of them gets it through a set of corners, the other one will come back on them to the inside the very next time around. And these 2 are teammates at Steel Horse Racing. They don't really need to be running this hard, but they're racers. It's just what they do.
And as terrible as an analogy it might be, it's almost like watching an IndyCar race here. We talk about the draft. Well, DeBarro Benefiel, the 9 was on the back of the 83. 83 let him go, but then the 83 stayed on the back of the 9. It's because of the draft. Well, those guys back there battling for P6, they've been swapping it out like you've seen at IndyCar. Somebody gets the draft to the inside. They make the pass at X quarter, vice versa. Right now, it's McBride in front of Eckridge, the 70 chasing him down. They're not going to get away from each other anytime soon because, again, the draft is such a big factor in these cars down these very long straightaways. And same just in front of them. So the battle for 6th and 7th is between McBride and Eckridge, and it's going to become a 4 4-car battle if you want to toss Jeff Ward's 15 and Christopher Hurlow's 87 into the mix as well. They run just 0.3 of a second in front now for 4th and 5th position and over 3 seconds off of the top spot. So we're getting set to see a 4-car battle, and again, it's because of the draft that these guys just can't get away from each other, and we'll go side by side for 4th at a turn 4, and it's the 15 to the inside of the racetrack. Drag race down the front. Not enough of a run, though, for Jeff Ward to hold the inside at 1. It's Hurlow into the corner.
And meanwhile, with all of that going on, Evan, a now 2-second lead for David Comstock over Benefield, DeBarro, Hurlow, Ward. That's your top 5. Then it's Rhett McBride, Scott Eckridge, Dwayne Vincent. Nice run up to the 8th position early. And then those 2 championship guys just hovering. E.J. O'Rourke, Chad Cole, 9th and 10th on the racetrack as they Watching, though, has come from 20th to run 12th here in the early going. Andy Kessler, Daniel Eberhardt, the guy who's won a couple of these races already, on the move. And despite the fact he's 7.5 seconds off the lead, nice run through the field early.
Yeah, it has. That's one other thing that's impressed me of Daniel Eberhardt this season is the fact that he's been able to conserve his tires throughout a run. And that's exactly what he's done here. He took it easy the first few laps, and now you can see him slowly start to pick away at these guys. And I don't think it'll be too much longer here. He's only got about a second to make up on the 2 guys ahead of him. Oh, caution's out.
Caution going to fly, and a big checkup on the front. Look out, stopped right shy of the start-finish line, and in the middle of the racetrack there is the number 15 of Jeff Ward facing the wrong side around, and in the middle of the racing surface off the corner. Caution going to drop at lap 27. We're taking a second look now at the LSRTV replay. It is in front of him, Christopher Hurlow. Into the fence off the corner. 15 of machine right behind. Gets him at the back end and a little bit of an assist from the 2. Turns Jeff Ward around. He'll collect as well. Scott Eckridge, big accident in turn number 4. Dwayne Vincent, one of the names, is able just to get around it. And that wasn't even the worst part. The worst part is that big pack that we were looking at, they came through there 3 wide. It looked like mostly everybody was able to avoid getting caught up with that stationary car in the middle of the track.
And that's one of those moments that happened right in the middle of these leaders, Evan, where you stop and think about the fact that we had Jeff Ward among the front runners as a car we thought could contend to win this race early. And I don't know that he came away with much, if any, damage to that car. Little bit of contact when he was trying to get it turned around from the 10 of John Abbott. But I think he's going to be okay for the long haul. Problem is, stuck on pit road right now here with what's going to be 28, 29 laps complete when they come back around.
And the pace car comes by, and not a whole lot of traffic behind it because pit road is open. For the first time, our leaders are down, Andy, and it is led down by the 14, David Comstock. Going to be the first driver in front of the field down to pit stall number 4.
Yeah, I expected most guys with the tire wear to be coming down pit road probably around lap 35 or so. So we're a little bit short of that mark, but everybody obviously down pit road to take tires. Shouldn't see anybody try to force the issue with 2 here. Should be 4 tires for all the leaders. As we see Comstock first one down, he'll be out and away, and he'll lead everybody off pit road.
And he makes the safe call off and away, and then Anthony DeBarro going to take the number 2 spot off of the pit lane. Adam Benefield, who came in inside of the top 2, going to exit pit road in 4th. This caution going to bring us past quarter distance here in Daytona, and as we pace under the caution flag, we'll take a quick opportunity to take a yellow of our own. You're watching LSRTV's coverage of the Real Sim Race at Icebreaker Winter Series Homestead 195 on LSRTV at iRacing Live. Back in a moment. David Comstock, your race leader. And back live at the virtual Homestead of Miami Speedway. Lights off on top of the pace car. Going to get our first restart on the night. And we're doubled up and going to get the green flag as we come by to take lap number 32. And when 32 laps are down, we will be quarter distance in the Homestead 195. It is championship night for the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series on LSRTV, the voice of Sim Racing. And we're happy to have you along for the ride. First caution flag, going to go to the books this time as the American Childhood Cancer Organization for the Mustang GT Pace Car. Going to make the sharp left-hand turn down to the wayside. It's Comstock to the American Ethanol Go Zone. Green flag back in the air in Homestead.
Yeah, what a great jump he had right there on that inside lane. DeBarro's going to be able to follow him now through 1 and 2. The first side-by-side battle, though, is for that third spot. Look who it is, Rhett McBride, all the way up to that third spot now. He's battling Benefield now, door to door, down the back straightaway into 3.
And it is the highest battle on the track right now, and it is inside of the top 5 for that number 4 spot. And you see the 2 slides up, the 83 slides up. Look at the big push on the inside. E.J. O'Rourke. 3 wide, at a turn number 4 they go, and all of this just behind the 9, but he'll back off of it. And a turn number 1 to make sure that 2 Rhett McBride can hold the inside lane. So O'Rourke, well, getting physical, knows that maybe it's still a little bit too early to be pushing it quite that hard. He backs off, and now the 8 machine going to take advantage of that, though. So Chad Cole to the inside, 2 wide, couple of rows deep. In turn number 3, it's McBride and Benefield. The 8 of Chad Cole and the 93 of E.J. O'Rourke all going on inside of P3.
Well, you got to keep in mind here, Evan, EJ knows that he has no chance at winning this championship if Chad Cole is in front of him. EJ's got to go for everything he can get here. Ideally, he wants to win this race and make sure Cole doesn't. That would seal the championship away for him. The problem is he's losing a little bit of time right now, 3 car lengths back, while Cole trying to go to work here on Rhett McBride for that 4th position. All that's going on, and meanwhile, David Comstock up front has established about a 3 car length advantage, but the battle's on behind him for 4th. McBride tagged the wall. That gives Cole some momentum, and Chad Cole to the inside in the DeWalt machine in 1.
The 8 machine going to power off the center of the corner, and he'll get clear down at a turn number 2. It is Chad Cole back in front. And at 2, McBride gets around to peaks to the inside. Not enough, though. Momentum off of the outside, using the 20 degrees of anchor to make it side by side. He'll have to settle in that spot at the moment. All of this behind David Comstock, who's 2/10 in front of Anthony DeBarro at a Benefield 3rd, and then Rhett McBride winning that battle for 4th. As we talked about, Chad Cole took it away from him, so the 8 machine up to 4th, McBride down to 5th. E.J. O'Rourke, though, has been able to hold off the attack from behind. Again, Chad Cole took advantage of him. Now the 93 trying to get back going northbound to the inside, and it's the 2 Rhett McBride. Again, you make a pass, it doesn't work, you lose some momentum. The next guy in line is going to jump all over you, and E.J. O'Rourke does not let that opportunity pass. Easy done in turn number 4. Kicks it a little bit sideways for extra measure, but it does take P5 away. And McBride now left to deal with the 96. How about Vitrollo? 15th to 7th inside of the top 10. Trying to get another one.
I'm telling you, Evan, I'm not sure what David Comstock has out in front of this field, but whatever he's got, everybody behind him needs to be paying attention, because that car has looked untouchable ever since he took the lead at lap 6. This is going to be 32 consecutive laps that 14 machine has led out in front of this race, and I don't see anybody changing that anytime soon. He's consistently been a 0.5 to a 1/10 a lap faster than everybody else in this field, and you gotta wonder, is he holding back at all? Does this car have even more in it?
David Comstock is no stranger to walking away from these series, in specific with trips to victory lane. Last year it was Las Vegas as a double points night to close off the Icebreaker Winter Series, and he went to victory lane. He's looking to take home the season finale in back-to-back seasons, and right now he's looking like he has the car to do so. But with just 39 laps down the next time around, 130 Still plenty to go, but so far he's been executed on track and on the pit lane, which are two key areas, obviously, if you want to go to victory lane. So in the caution flag claim, 2 drivers in that one. Jeff Ward's night is done. They've pushed to 15 to behind the wall. Scott Eckridge has fallen 2 laps down in 31st. Other than that, we still drive with 30 drivers on the lead lap after the accident in turn number 4. And just like we saw in the opening stint, there's a group of cars. This time, it's inside the top 10, and it's just behind the 2 of Rhett McBride. Dwayne Vincent going to make a charge up the inside. It's a battle for 7th, down in 1 and 2.
Pretty good battle, too. Vincent makes short work of it there as he clears McBride. McBride thought about dropping back to the inside. Chose wisely, though, as they move down into turn number 3. Corbin Hemstreet also coming back into the picture. You got a couple other guys. Nelson Rivera there started 19th. He's in 11th place right now. He's trying to take that 10th spot away from Dan Murray right now down the front straightaway. So a pretty good battle right now. About 5, 6, 7 cars now right there around that top 10 area.
Couple of big movers so far. How about Chad Cole? I know we've mentioned his name a couple of times tonight, and for good reason. Again, he enters tonight in the top spot in the championship. 3 points over E.J. O'Rourke. Chad Cole is 4th. E.J. is 5th. Both of them have been improving from their starting spots, but particularly impressive for the number 8 machine. Started 16th. He's already 3/4 of the way to the front in P4, and he could be within earshot of P2 here because he's closing in on the back of Adam Benefield. Benefield only a couple of car lengths off of the 9 of Anthony DeBarro, who runs a high side, down in 1 and 2. Call it a 3-car battle for second down the backstretch.
Well, it's a 3-car freight train, and they've not quite been hooked by a trailer hitch, Evan, but they've been pretty tightly together the last 10 or 12 laps as you've got DeBarro leading this train by a car length, and Chad Cole is really putting pressure on Adam Benefield now. This 8 machine versus the roll speed 83 of Benefield. These two are veterans. They know how each other race, and they know that they're going to race each other hard but clean. Cole takes a peek down to the inside. Benefield's going to have the momentum on the high side, though, off turn 2 to hold this. Cole has to fall back in line, but he just inches a little bit closer every single lap. And despite the fact that he's making passes, Evan, Chad Cole is as fast as the race leader, David Comstock. He's probably the only car that's been able to run the same pace as the 14 over the course of this run. I like what he's doing, and I like what he may be able to keep doing here. He was actually a 0.5 quicker than Comstock last time by, and that's chasing down Adam Benefield. Keep an eye on the 8 as this run goes on.
I think at least the last 3 laps, that 8 machine has bested the lap time of David Comstock in front. He's not making up the time as quickly as he would like. Again, he is within a second, but really, all 3 of these guys, DeBarro, Benefield, Cole, riding 2, 3, and 4 at the moment, they're all closing in a little bit of David Comstock. And again, we talked earlier in the race about how the draft plays a major factor into that. And you can stay with somebody, even if you're a little bit slower, in scenarios where when they get past you, they'd be able to take off. You can stay with them. You could pester them a little bit. Well, DeBarro, make it a charge and make it a case for the race lead. That gap now within 0.5 second. And if you look down the backstretch, you can visibly see that 9 machine close in as he gets closer to that number 14 machine, especially down into turn 3, down the backstretch, and again off of turn number 4, down to turn number 1, down the front stretch. He's catching him, and he's got to trace that lawn of the Monster Energy Chevrolet in front to do so, but knock another 10th off the board that time. Comstock closing in as DeBarro, Benefield, and Chad Cole getting a lot closer. All of these guys now within 0.7 of P1.
Evan, that gap, though, started to close so quickly. I might have to take a look at the tape again, but did Comstock maybe get loose at some point here? Because at least as much as DeBarro chopped off at the lap before this, it almost looked too abrupt for the 9 to have just turned on the afterburn like that. I can't help but wonder if maybe there was a slight 14.
Maybe in turn 1 on lap 44. Didn't have a major bobble, but he may have gotten a little bit tight coming off of turn number 4 or coming off of turn number 2 back 3 laps ago at 44. That's when the gap went from 7 to 0.8 of a second down to 5 or 0.6 of a second, and they've been building upon that shortened distance since then. DeBarro within right now actually 0.3 of a second, 32 100ths if you want to be specific. But if anything, that may have been a lap where David Comstock had a little bit of a bobble. This time, though, he goes to the positive by just 6/1000ths of a second. But it is very much so a top 4 breakaway. You can say it's Comstock, DeBarro, and then Benefiel and Cole, 3-4, a little bit closer to each other than the rest of the group. But they're over 2.5 seconds now, Andy, in front of 5th on back. And that's a good battle still with E.J. O'Rourke, Dwayne Vincent, Vince Rollo, and Rhett McBride. And even behind him, you got McBride going side by side with Daniel Eberhardt and Almich Rollo at a battle for P7 on the racetrack. But the big thing I look at there is E.J. O'Rourke is 5th. Chad Cole is 4th. The big difference is Chad Cole is within a second of your leader, and E.J. O'Rourke is not. He's 3 seconds back. That's not good news for the 93.
No, it isn't right now, but, this is still early part in this race right now, so he's got plenty of time to figure out his line or do something odd. I mean, if they stay green for a while and they get the green flag pit stop, he might be one of those guys to look to take the 4 tires a little bit sooner, maybe 4 or 5 laps before everybody else. Might give him an advantage, put him out in the front, or at least ahead of that 8 car. Now, looking behind EJ as he now battles Rhett McBride side by side for that position. Rhett McBride's going to win that position at the moment. That's the 6th spot. Here comes Eberhardt, the 90. We talked about him right before that caution came out, how he was saving his tires and working his way through the field. Well, he's finally done it. He's worked his way up to that 7th spot now, and E.J. O'Rourke, though, he's not having much of that.
And that puts him right up there with some of the other biggest movers so far tonight. A guy like a Nick Silver up 9 spots. Eberhardt up 12. Nelson Rivera up 7. Just some of the names, but still it is Chad Cole up 12 in 4th. That remains at the top of the biggest movers listed. Just as it looked like David Comstock was going to have a battle on his hands, now he's spread back out. The gap between 1 and 2, almost back to 0.4 of a second. And Benefiel really struggling to keep pace with DeBarro. Going to have Chad Cole on his hands pretty soon because the DeWalt Tools Toyota Camry not going to be sitting around behind that 83 for much longer if it means continuing the drop.
I'll agree with that, Evan. And, you look down this field, it's really kind of a menagerie of sorts right now of guys who have been at the front of the field for most of it versus guys who have really had to work their way forward. You look at a guy like a Cole or an Eberhardt who's moved up 13 spots now to 7th. Even guys that started outside the top 10 from the Boomtown camp, Rollo and Hemstreet back there in 9th and 10th. Versus the rest of these guys like the top 4 top 3, Comstock, DeBarro, Benefiel, who have been up in that range virtually this entire race. We're putting 52 laps up on the board this time by, and I'm starting to get the feel that this is the run, Evan, where if it goes green to the point that maybe we slide in and start to cycle through green flag pit stops, I say this is the run right here that decides not only who the players are going to be to win this race here in about 60 laps or so, but also who's going to win the championship out of Cole and O'Rourke. Right now, I think if it stays green, there's no way the 93 catches the 8 on sheer speed. I know it's a little early to think about, but if you talk about late in this race, maybe a 2-tire gamble that we know EJ's famous for, how late does it for O'Rourke to try the 2-tire maneuver, get out ahead of Cole, and have a shot to make that work to win the championship? I mean, how late does it have to be, knowing that tires mean so much here?
We're going to have to look at where we pit now, but if we do go green, where that sets us up as far as how long that final interval is going to be on fuel, on tires. But if you take a 2-tire call, you're going to cut a little bit of time off of that pit stop. You might go from 13 or 14 seconds down to 8. Well, you might just be making up enough time to get back even with him because E.J. O'Rourke continues to slide back. Again, we mentioned there's a big difference between P4 and 5, but there was even bigger difference with the intervals. But now E.J. O'Rourke has fallen to 8th spot. Dwayne Vincent got it from him. Rhett McBride and now Daniel Eberhardt taking over the number 7 spot. So E.J. back in P8, Andy. It's still a little bit too early to push the panic button, but I think Jacob's on the money when he says that if we go green, you're not going to make up 5, 6, 7 seconds on Chad Cole unless he has big problems, because that 4, he's losing the pace a little bit. He's no longer the pace of the field. That is David Comstock, who continues to slowly get a 100th here and a couple of hundredths there, pulling back away. But Chad Cole, 1.2 seconds off, a lot better than being 4.2 seconds off for E.J. O'Rourke, because soon you're going to be too far behind. That strategy call not going to do much good for you even way.
Yeah, the only thing I think at this point, the strategy call that he could make is to pit about 5 or 6 laps before the rest of these guys would pit, and that's probably the only thing that's going to help him with the fresh tires. We've seen that in the past at other tracks, at other mile and a halfs, giving somebody a pretty big advantage. So we'll have to see what's up the sleeves of the 93 as we continue to roll on. He's definitely not out of it yet. 8th place, still a really good run he's got going so far. He's just got to find that speed. I think maybe he might be burning his stuff up a little too early in the run and trying to keep pace with those guys rather than, really setting his own pace at the beginning and saving those tires for this part of the run.
Battle for the number 2 spot on track. Anthony DeBarro's got it, and funny because I talked to you about Benefield starting to fall off at the number 2 spot. He goes to the attack, and just like that, he puts the Roll Speed Dynamics Toyota in second. Not so fast, though. Big run off of 2. DeBarro gonna power back down to the inside of the racetrack. He'll take it right back. 83. Does he pay it back as well? Yes, sir. He'll cross him over at a turn number 4. And again, 3 swaps for position that lap. Finally, Benefield gonna get it. He'll be P2 at the start finish on it. Chad Cole wants it on the fun. Championship leader wants to get on the podium. He'll go to the inside on the 9 just as the 13er Dwayne Vincent gets a big run on him. And outside, too fast that time off the corner. That move for P3 going to cost Chad Cole a spot and kick him back to 5th.
Yeah, where did Dwayne Vincent come from to run into the number 4 position, Evan? He's been excruciatingly quiet through these first 59 laps, but now the Parker Store Chevrolet starting to make something happen here and coming to life during this second run of the race. I know these guys are a second and a half behind the leaders, but Dwayne Vincent actually faster that last time by than race leader David Comstock. He goes to the inside of DeBarro, wants to make up another position. Vincent trying to do what Chad Cole could not, get on the podium. Vincent will not do it either as DeBarro closes back on the 83 of Benefield, making a 3-man race for second here off turn 4. Now Vincent to the bottom of the racetrack. Big run for 3rd. He's got it.
That 9 didn't have a whole lot of real estate to work with into the corner. He was right on the back of the 83, and with Dwayne Vincent right on the back of him, he just kind of had to follow the flow in. Not a good exit, and that 13 machine set him up, went to the bottom and took that spot right away. So Dwayne Vincent going to pick up another spot, and now the battle for P2 going to be an 83 and a 13 fight. You see, close it in. Lap traffic just in front of them, the 70 of Scott Eckridge. Pole sitter earlier in this race involved in an accident, running 29th position and 3 laps down. That black and green machine not for position. Vincent sideways to turn 1. He tried to go to the inside on Adam Benefield. The 83 shut the door at a big bobble in the corner. Both of those drivers going to lose plenty of momentum. They're still out there, and that's a hell of a battle for second, and now Vincent in the fence in 2.
Well, the big loser in that battle, Evan, was the 9 of Anthony DeBarro, who came up so quickly on the back deck lid of the 13 of Dwayne Vincent that he either had one of 2 choices: put it in the fence or put it in the back of the 13. DeBarro took the former and ended up losing 1, 2, 3 positions in that whole exchange. Chad Cole goes by, Everhart McBride goes by, and it's, that was almost really ugly. DeBarro's pretty lucky, I think, in that exchange that he didn't end up with the entire front nose of that machine completely bashed in, because he was probably a half-second reaction away from having a destroyed race car and probably putting Dwayne Vincent in the fence as well.
And we've seen scenarios like that play out this season where you see a couple of guys, they get up next to each other, and it's not fun what they're doing. We talk about so far tonight, we've seen at least two pairs of teammates, Andy, get at each other's throats, about take each other out, keep going. These guys, you don't think they're having fun and being competitive amongst each other. The best battles have been coming amongst team cars.
Yeah, that's, you know what that is? It's all a product of getting the win, and all these guys that we're seeing battling as teammates are right here up at the front of the field. And you know what? Listen, last race of the season, you may be out of the championship like most of these guys are, but it's always nice to get that final win of the season and maybe carry that momentum, especially up into the Cup Series. It'll be getting kicked off next week. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, on the battles between the teammates. But listen, it's all for one, none for all. They're all going for the win.
And this time by at a turn number 4, race leader David Comstock going to put lap number 65 to the books. halfway down. We're no longer counting up. We're counting down in Homestead of Miami, Florida. It's the halfway point, and we'll take a look at tonight's iRacing.com Midway Leaderboard, presented by iRacing, the leader in motorsport simulations and the official sim racing partner of NASCAR. Let's take a look at a full field rundown at lap 66 of 130. David Comstock lead started P4, is out in front by 1 second and change to Dwayne Vincent, who just took over the number 2 spot from Benefield, who rides in third. Chad Cole, championship leader, doing what he needs to do at the moment, running inside the top 5 in fourth. Daniel Lee Everhart just behind in fifth. Rhett McBride in P6, behind him in seventh is Anthony DeBarro. Corbin Hemstreet running in 8th position right now. 9th is EJ O'Rourke, and back from 25th on the grid inside of the top 10 now, the 51 of Nick Silver.
And running right now in that 11th spot's Mike Rominger. Dan Murray is sitting 12th, 13th goes to Christopher Hurlow. Mitch Rollo is in that 14th spot. 15th is Jonathan Cadell. Matt Lacrosse, 16th. 17th is John Abbott. Greg Omo is 18th. 19th goes to Mike Montesi. And Justin Michael rounds out top 20.
Yeah, Doug Roth in the famed 43 is 21st, 22nd to Jason Swan, 23rd, Douglas Wyatt, 24th in the final car on the lead lap, the 33 of Dale Rentz. 1 lap down in 25th is Nelson Rivera, as is Tyler Herr, winner earlier in the season in 26th. 27th, his teammate Brian Terry, also a lap down. 3 down in 28th, the pole sitter Scott Eckridge, after being involved in that lap 27 caution flag. J. Randall Watkins, the first car out of this race now in 29th, is now 6 laps in arrears. Parked it a few laps ago at lap number 60. Final 3 cars in this rundown also out of it. Mike Kelly in the O2 connection problems derailing his effort tonight, as did the 69 of William Amaker with connection issues. Jeff Ward destroyed in that caution flag that took him out of contention. Contact from Christopher Hurlow and Rhett McBride, ending his day in his final Monday night start in real sim racing, probably for the year, as he told us earlier tonight. That's a look at your full field rundown here, with now 70 laps getting ready to go in the books, powered by iRacing. For more information on the world's premier motorsport simulation, visit them at iRacing.com. Evan, as we cross the halfway point, we're now 60 laps away from the conclusion of this Icebreaker season, and what I've seen so far, nobody's taken the trophy away from David Comstock unless he gives it away. Nobody's taken the championship away from Chad Cole unless something really freaky happens.
And we said that earlier, and there was a shred of doubt because, again, we saw second, third, fourth. They got there. 14 said, okay, kicked it up a notch. And nobody's really been able to match those numbers since. The closest is Dwayne Vincent, but he's been, well, lockstep with that 14. You can't make up a 1.5 second gap if you're not faster than him, and that's the gap right now between P1 and 2 on track. So as we mentioned, past the halfway point in the Homestead 195. Going to take a quick opportunity under the green flag condition as we get set for some green flag pit stops to take a quick break and go LSRTV non-stop so you don't miss a moment of the action. It's David Comstock in a race lead, Dwayne Vincent second, Adam Benefield in third, but your championship leader Chad Cole running in fourth has control on the title fight at lap 72.
That's pretty good. I love exactly what these guys are doing here with this tire wear.
Grab your share of the over $1,200 purse in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona Speed Weeks now through February 20th, 2016. We are raising money to help Laura battle cancer. 100% of all donations go directly to Laura's GoFundMe medical fund. All 43 drivers in the Laura Lawson Domino's TYJ Daytona 300 get paid. Mark your calendar. The 6 Race Your Way In qualifying races to be held the next 3 weekends, January 29th and 30th, February 5th and 6th, and February 12th and 13th, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Password required. Are you the fastest and best at Daytona? Prove it, as LSRTV broadcasts live the Daytona 300 Saturday, February 20th, 2016 Register and donate at Domino'sTYJRacing.com. Look for the green ribbon. $5 minimum donation required. Thank you for your help.
Driving 81, yo, I dropped the 88. Ricky Bobby, shaking.
Back at Homestead in Florida, and you're looking at the battle for the race lead. David Comstock has led this race since about lap number 10. Dwayne Vincent trying to change that, and he's going to slide high off the corner. Look out to the bottom. Fresh rubber on the 96. And Petrollo caution going to fly just as that 14 was on the defensive. Yellow flag is out for problems at a turn number 4. And it looks like the 92, Brian Terry, is torn up off the corner, and it is contact between the 92 and the 11 machines.
Yeah, we're going to get a look at the replay right here, Evan, so you can see what happened between Cadell and Brian Terry. But I was watching these two come to the line, Comstock and Vincent, and I'm not so sure Dwayne didn't get up a little bit high on the front straightaway and tag the wall just a bit there, coming to that caution with 78 complete here, Evan. I want to get a look at it when that car comes to pit road, but man, Vincent was digging for all it was worth. He almost led this race, but as they say, almost doesn't count here, boys.
Only in horseshoes and hand grenades. We saw the replay for the contact in turn 4. The 92, Brian Terry on the bottom. The 11, Jonathan Cadell, tried to squeeze through on the outside. And the Carolina Panthers machine not going to be dabbing tonight in his 100th start because contact there going to tear up both the 11 and the 92 machines. Pit stops going to be in abundance. This time we're down, and we did see some damage on the right side of Dwayne Vincent's 13. Question is, how long do they stay down there and get it serviced? It looks like Dwayne Vincent is going to sit in his stall. Jacob takes some repairs. That's going to cost him some time and some spots.
I'm not surprised at that, though, because you want to do whatever you have, Evan, to make sure that car is in racing condition to contend for the victory at the end tonight. We've still got 50 laps to go when they get back to the line here. You might not say at some places that's not a lot of time, Evan. Here at Homestead, that really is a lot of time for what it's worth as far as how this race has to play out. So one of those things where I'm not counting Dwayne Vincent out of this at all just yet. I'll be interested more so to see if he's lost any speed on that number 13 Parker Store Chevrolet when we go back to the green flag here in a couple of laps. I think the biggest thing, though, is right now, barring anything really crazy, which we're going to see Comstock hold the lead right here. David Comstock, Evan, took the lead at lap 6. He has now led 75 consecutive laps of this race, and that is by far and away more than anybody. Also clinches him that extra bonus point for leading the most laps tonight. Not that it does anything in the championship, but, you know, point of posterity, David Comstock's the defending champion of this series, has not had the run this season that he would have been looking for. I'm sure he really wants to parlay this performance into a second season finale victory.
And the cause of the caution going to be claimed by Brian Terry, and Jonathan Goodell not happy about the contact either, but it is going to be placed on the Round 2 machine. So with that, Brian Terry going to receive the mandatory RSR EOL penalty, end of the longest lawn for the restart. Plenty of drivers, though, going to stay out to take the wave by under the caution flag. Couple of lap guys as well just had to wait for the next time around for pit lane to become open so that they could take some service. However, it looks like Mike Rominger 16th through 24th. Rominger, Murray, Eberhardt, Hemstreet, Michael, Lacrosse, Roth, Cadell, and Herlo. Those are some big names back there. They'll get the wave by this time as the lights go out on top of the pace car. We'll be back up to 24 drivers on the lead lap. We were talking about a little bit of the pit strategy. Well, those guys that short pitted and we thought might advantage them in the long run didn't quite work out, because those are the guys that you're seeing get waved by now. And it turns out that staying out on track, which most of our leaders did, was the right call with that yellow flag flying kind of in the middle of pit stops.
Yeah, and it was a very lucky call for a lot of these guys, Evan, from the standpoint that now, and what it does too is it really takes away the strategy play that E.J. O'Rourke could have used under green. What O'Rourke needs now is this to go green for a little while, and then a couple of late race cautions, Evan. He needs a caution, I'd say arguably to fly with about 10 laps to go, where he can take 2 tires here and be able to not have a lot of laps to have to hold everybody off. If he's got to hold them for 2 or 3 or more laps on 2 tires, he won't be able to make it happen. The key is he starts right up there with Cole on this restart. They're 3rd and 6th as we work off turn 4, coming back to that American Ethanol green flag with Comstock and Benefiel on the front row. Green flag flies again. The monster is gone, and David Comstock, as he has all night, Evan, quick off the gun and down to turn 1.
And with that, now just 48 laps to go at the Homestead Miami Speedway, and a championship on the line for Chad Cole. This caution also brings Cole and O'Rourke back together side by side in that spot for the championship, but the 8 machine going to gain some ground. Look at the 51 in the way. Nick Silver in between the 8 and the 93, and O'Rourke using up the bumper, trying to find a way through, not able to do so. Dwayne Vincent to the inside, going to be side by side off of the corner for the number 4 spot. This all going on behind Comstock, Benefiel, and Cole, who ride 1, 2, 3. Battle for the race lead. In turn number 1, to the yellow line goes Adam Benefiel. Not enough, though. Comstock going to wind it up top side, and he'll maintain the race lead.
If anybody had any doubts that Adam Benefiel wants to go out of RSR as a winner, I'd say they just got erased right there. That's as gutsy a move as I've seen anybody take to David Comstock all night long. 3-man train for the race lead now as Chad Cole latches onto the back deck lid of the 83 of Benefiel. They're running away from the rest of the field, and it's a now triple train at the front as again Benefiel right to the bottom of the racetrack, goes to that white line in 1 and 2, just can't get enough to get all the way up to the quarter panel of Comstock and slow him up with that side draft to battle for the lead. He's better in 1 and 2. Comstock, though, Evan, really good on the 3 and 4 end of the racetrack right now.
And a bobble right there, the 14 sideways in 4, and a squeeze to the inside. Benefiel almost didn't have enough room to do anything with it. He'll swing it to the inside, though. Going to be side by side, lap 86. Could it be, for the first time since 80 laps ago, somebody in front besides the Monster Energy Chevrolet Benefiel? Got a good run into the quarter, but still not enough. Again, Progressive banking gave 20 degrees on the outside to David Comstock. Powered at it too. took the preferred lane away in 3 and 4, and it is going to be David Comstock coming off of the quarter, back in front, and still leading with 86 laps now into the books. Want to give a quick call behind Tyler Hurd, number 55 Chevrolet, up to 9th spot. He just dropped John Abbott outside of the top 10. Huge shout out to the number 10 machine. Tyler Hurd 1 point behind Matt Lacrosse for 3rd in the championship. He's running in front of that 21 right now. A rookie looking to get a podium in the points.
And that's going to be good news for Tyler Hurd. I mean, this is a driver that everybody had pegged. He says he's got a scheduling conflict that's going to keep him from the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series. But Andy, good grief, this is a driver in that 55 that's been unbelievable in this Icebreaker Winter Series. And if we can see it, maybe a one-off or two-off effort for her in the Full Throttle Cup ranks next year, I would argue that he's one that can jump in and contend. He's been great against some of these veterans, and it's been so refreshing to see that 55 car not only get a win, but take it to some of these guys and look now to finish 3rd in points at the end of this one tonight.
That'd be a pretty cool feature for a rookie driver to do that, and to do that with the two guys in front of him just being solid RSR veterans here. So, I mean, for Tyler Hurd to do what he's done so far, and it's been quiet. We haven't talked much about him at all at the beginning part of the season. All of a sudden, when we get down to about three to four races to go, we notice, whoa, look at this 55. Where does he come from? Look at him in the point standings in the top 10, and he's been climbing week after week after week. So he's been doing a great job with that, and the battle for second starts to heat up.
In the 83, put up a fight for it, but 3-4 laps later, not enough to be able to stay up there with David Comstock. And there goes Chad Cole, making it look easy, making a pass on the inside and move the number 8 DeWalt machine now up to 2nd. After starting this race 16th on the grid, well behind his championship counterpart at EJ O'Rourke, who started 9th. It has been old Chad Cole in the championship conversation tonight. He in P2, AJ O'Rourke back into P5, looking to give Cole that time by in the range of about an 8 to 9 point gap in the points at lap 91, but that 8 machine has taken off. But it's Benefield who now begins to slide back. He'll be more than 1 second off of the top spot as lap 91 going to go to a close the next time around. But we're with inside now the final 40 laps in Homestead of Miami, Florida, and it is old David Comstock in front now. Is he untouchable, or is Chad Cole bringing it to life? The last time by, the 8 was 2/10 quicker. This time, Comstock going to put down a 32.3 and a 32.3 for Cole. Comstock back on it, gained a couple of hundredths that time, but Chad Cole making sure that 14 machine knows that this is far from over.
He's keeping him honest right now, Evan, and I'll tell you, that's the most fire I've seen out of Chad Cole all night long in this race. The pass on Benefield and then driving 2/10 off Comstock's lead right there. I think it honestly might have been a little bit of a wake-up call for the driver of that Monster Energy Chevrolet. One of those, oh boy, all of a sudden I got to step on it here just a little bit. So Comstock and Cole getting away, but if you're Chad Cole, Evan, you don't just want to win the championship and finish second. I said it earlier. Chad Cole, his goal is to come out, win the race, win the championship tonight. Comstock did it a year ago. Cole's trying to equal that feat. There's no double points on the line tonight, but it doesn't matter. He's the all-time RSR wins leader. He's trying to ice his 3rd Icebreaker championship, and he cuts into it visibly that time by. It's down to about 5 car lengths, 0.3 of a second in 1.
And while this Icebreaker Winter Series, not the same championship format as what we see with the RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, these races have basically come down to the last couple of seasons. You got to win the race to win the championship, but it's almost an exact picture like that tonight for Chad Cole. He's got the number of the 93, but he would much rather just only have one victory lane celebration, walk away with both the hardware. Tonight, he is there, he's closing, and now he's to the point where he's made up enough time that he's going to start to get the advantage of that draft. He'll be able to get to David Comstock. We have seen, though, a couple of other guys get to the 14, give him 1 or 2 good efforts, and then fall off. The 8 machine, he's got to get to him, and he's got to make sure he doesn't waste that opportunity. As we hop on board, Andy, with that 8 machine, you can see the gap. That's what 0.3 of a second looks like.
Yeah, you can see that gap really starting to close, too, and I think Chad Cole's done a great job with his tire conservation, and I really think Comstock has, too, because every time he had gotten close he's been able to step it up just a notch. But at this point, it's kind of stabilized right now. They're running about the same lap times here the last couple of laps. But Chad Cole, he's putting himself in that position for Comstock to make a mistake. And I think really if he gets to his back bumper, the inside lane's not going to work with the worn tires. It's definitely going to be something he's going to have to wait for that 14 to make a mistake or try to fake him out and go to the high side. I think that's really the only way the 8's going to get around him.
I wouldn't be so sure about that, Andy. You got to keep in mind, this is Chad Cole, all-time RSR wins leader, two-time Icebreaker champion, mind game extraordinaire here. This is a driver who makes a living here in RSR by getting in people's heads and forcing mistakes. I know David Comstock has ice in his veins. He proved that during the Full Throttle Cup Series last year, but Chad Cole does too. And Cole is so good about getting in your head and making you think he's going to do one thing, and he fakes you out and does something else, like Andy said. I think Cole may be able to force a mistake from the 14 of Comstock right here, Evan, and be able to take advantage, get to the lead. It's down to a quarter of a second, but what it's also doing is starting to pull the 83 and the 13 of Benefiel and Vincent back to him. If those two teammates get in on this lead battle, then it's a whole new ball game.
If that 8's got the wake off of the back of the 14, it means that Benefiel and Vincent are catching the draft off of him. But mind games are a big part of it, and we see a lot with this RSR series. Obviously, our premiere night here on Mondays, it's always the same group of guys. They know each other, so they're going to get on each other's bumper. We see it time and time again, especially late in these races. Well, you see the 8 machine, he'll get closer. You might be thinking, well, why doesn't he drive it into the inside? Why does he make a move? He'll ride, and he'll keep his nose on your bumper for 15 laps until you give him the lane that he wants. That's something that Chad Cole is going to do. And that 8 machine now at the inside of 3 car lengths off of turn number 4. And that 14 machine, I'll tell you what, David Comstock, as much as he'd like to say that he's not paying attention behind him, he can feel the heat coming from that 8 machine. Lap number 100 in the works next time by. Going to be at 30 laps to go. We're 3/4 down, 1/4 to go at a battle for the race lead, shaping up in the final run.
Yeah, it's shaping up really, really good right here, Evan. And it's not just a 2-man fight anymore. It's about to be a 4-man fight. Comstock, Cole, Benefiel, and Vincent. Chad Cole working that bottom lane in 3 and 4. You can visibly see it now. It's down to 22/100ths of a second. Cole gets to the bottom a little bit sooner than Comstock does, and he's riding now a half groove higher, trying to get a little bit of momentum, and then diamond that corner off turn number 2. Not running quite as high off the exit of the corner, but that's allowing Benefiel and Vincent to catch right up to these front 2. It's now 4 drivers again within 0.7 of a second. Cole to the bottom in turns 3 and 4, a half groove lower than Comstock. That's where he's making up a lot of his time here. It's now underneath 0.2 of a second. You got 4 men under a blanket, only 1 coming out on top. The big thing here, though, Andy, only 1 driver in the points in this. The other 3, Comstock, Benefiel, Vincent, they just want to win.
Yep, that's all they have left for this season is just try to get a win, and they're doing everything right. And I like the 83 and the 13 here in the late of this run, really showing that they conserve their tires and they're getting the job done here late in the run. Problem is with only 30 laps to go, and when these guys make their final pit stop, when they make their final pit stop, they're not going to have this. They're really going to have to push the issue at the beginning and not wait for the tires to come in like they have on this run here. So the lead starting to really shrink up now. Comstock starting to feel the pressure. And you guys talk about the head games, what it must be like for Comstock right now to see that 8 in his rearview mirror. And now it looks like he's having some trouble there. Missed the entry of the corner right there. He's going to lose 2 spots. Chad Cole now back to 4th.
That was an uncharacteristic mistake, Evan, by Chad Cole. You try to force a mistake, and every once in a while, you can end up making a mistake of your own. That's exactly what we saw right there for that DeWalt entry of Chad Cole, and that's very unlike him. When he gets that close and can smell the victory, you don't normally see that. Now he's lost all that ground he had made up, and it's now Adam Benefiel on the front of this train trying to catch David Comstock for the lead.
And a little bit of a smoke there for the 83 out of Benefield, maybe minor connection problems, and we talked about that earlier in this race for a couple of guys, and it has sent 3 drivers behind the wall tonight, but the 83 is there. He assumes the role of the challenger with that number 8 Chad Cole falling back to 4th. And keep it in mind, and something that maybe Chad Cole didn't remember when he was battling with that 14, Jacob, is he's obviously trying to put the pressure on Comstock. Well, as soon as Benefield got to Chad Cole and applied some pressure of his own, he made a mistake. Adam Benefield's coming. He can't forget about Dwayne Vincent there either, though. We've seen a couple of times somebody be so focused on the driver in front of them, they're going to make a move, completely neglecting that the guy behind him has already made a move on him. So you have to not only apply the pressure to the guy in front of you, but you have to keep that guy behind you in check. And Chad Cole actually starting to fall off of this a little bit. He's about 5 car lengths off of the 13 to Dwayne Vincent, still within a second, but almost in danger of losing the draft. He'll try to drive it in hard this time to turn 3, stay in the conversation. So while that 83 is coming, he can't forget about Dwayne Vincent, because that 13, he knows a thing or two about winning races also.
Yeah, he does, but the catch here is, Evan, Dwayne Vincent is a teammate to Adam Benefield tonight, and I know Dwayne Vincent, I talked to him before the race. He wants to see Benefield go out on top. He wants Adam to leave RSR a winner. He's going to do whatever it takes to try and make that happen tonight. The problem is, though, Benefield got so squirrely right there, Vincent had no choice but to go to the inside. Otherwise, he was going to take them both out right here. So now it's Vincent to P2, Comstock back to third, Benefield back to third behind Comstock, the leader, and now Chad Cole's made up 0.3 of a second from where he was just a lap ago. Now it's Vincent trying to put the pressure on Comstock for the race lead. Benefield getting dicey. This is far from over.
Yeah, 13 took the spot right away, and that 83 is now back in third. And with that, it brings Chad Cole right back into the mix as they went side by side for a second. So here comes Chad Cole. All of this, though, still behind David Comstock. It's been, this time, 102 laps, and now 3. Since that 14 machine took over the race lead for the first time tonight, he has not looked back. But it has not been a race where it has been old David Comstock. Sure, he's been the class of the field. A couple of cautions, couple of challenges have kept that Monster Energy Chevrolet in check. He's so close, he can just about taste it with 21 laps to go this time by. And like we've seen many times this race entirely, the 14 gets a couple of challenges, but nobody has been able to get to the 14 and then put it to him, Andy. We saw a couple of guys get to him, go to the inside, die out. These guys caught him quickly, but have died out. The 14 machine is still looking pretty good.
Yeah, he's been searching around, running the bottom, running the top. I think Comstock's really just trying to search for the place that's got the most grip. And I think currently right now he's pulled out to about 5 car length lead now. I think he's pretty much found that spot, but we'll see what happens with the pit stops looming just ahead in about with only 20 laps left to go in this race. And I think these guys, the tires are definitely starting to, as we see these guys really push up to the wall. It's going to be interesting to see who can hang on to this thing as Comstock continues to search that high side. The bottom line, though, that's where Vincent loves to be.
He's searching for the grip he can get, because these cars are driving terrible right now, guys. I mean, there's no question about it. Comstock was glued to the bottom the entire first part of this run. Now he's up high in 1 and 2. Vincent's the guy that's been able to stay glued to the bottom of the racetrack, but Benefield and Cole, both behind him, have just about bought the farm the last 2 or 3 laps on that high lane exit in turn 4. I think this battle's now between the 14 and the 13 for the win. You look at Comstock wash high again. Vincent's able to stay and use that shorter lane, and that's going to help him. We got lap traffic coming into the equation too, though. It's not over by a long shot.
It's funny how these races work out, because if you end up with good tires at the end of the race, it's because of a late race restart, and it's going to be a crapshoot. And if you don't end up with a late race restart, you got cars that handle like junk, and you got to drive in the hardest that they've been driven all night long. So it always makes it difficult on these guys. And David Comstock, again, he's been higher up on the racetrack than anybody else tonight consistently. You see the 13 more down in that darkened area where all the rubber's been put down. That's where Dwayne's like to be. David Comstock, though, is not going there. He is liking a high side, which, as you said, Jacob, normally you see somebody push way high up early and they're up against the fence. It's not good news that it's the person who can hold the bottom and take the nice swinging arc off of the corner who's getting the speed. Well, so far, David Comstock is working the outside and hanging on in the 13. Too high that time. He kissed the fence and bumped into it about 2 times. Came back down. Adam Benefield going to take the number 2 spot away from him, dropping Vincent now back to 3rd once again.
Adam smells it now, too. As soon as he got around Dwayne, it looked like he just was shot out of a cannon. He knows it's game time now, coming to 11 laps to go. So Comstock, your leader. Benefield now second, and that's the second time tonight we've seen Dwayne wash up a little high. He did it at that caution at lap 78, too, when he hit the wall trying to fight with Comstock for the lead. Now Benefield a 10th quicker than Comstock last time by. He's going to give it all it's worth. This is his last rodeo in RSR. He wants to go out a winner. It's bring back the checkered flag or bring back the steering wheel for that Roll Speed Dynamics Toyota, and everybody in front and behind of him knows it. Dwayne sitting back there, he just doesn't want to be the casualty if something goes wrong in this fight for the win.
And this is a point where Chad Cole is liking the fact that he's far behind. There it is, though. Benefield going to get the fence in the same spot that Dwayne Vincent caught it just 2 laps prior. However, that was quite a lick to the Roll Speed Dynamics Toyota. And again, it's David Comstock watching the challengers come and then fall back before they could get to him. So Dwayne Vincent, he'll take the number 2 spot back. Adam Benefield banged up the right side of that stock car pretty good. He's still there. That is not all that far behind the 13 of Dwayne Vincent. I mentioned Chad Cole, though, 1.2 seconds back on the race lead. He was enjoying how far back he was. This 8 machine is now right behind Vincent, right behind Benefield, Andy, and based on the way the 13 and the 83 have been going at it, that 8 machine wants to make quick work of him. He's got no plans of hanging out around these guys for much longer than he needs to.
No, he doesn't want to hang out with them, and I really think that the tires for Chad Cole, we saw him drop out a while ago. He might have just been saving these things for the end, knowing that he was going to try to make it to the end here before this thing's done. He's got a chance now with EJ O'Rourke still sitting behind him about 3 seconds back. He really doesn't have to push the issue here, Chad Cole, and we know he wants to get the win, but the lap times are starting to run out here with about 13 to go, so I think Cole might be pretty content running right where he is.
And there are spikes for the guys behind the race lead. They get a 10th, they get a 10th or 2 on your race leader. But again, I keep saying, David Comstock, well, they catch him. Once they get to within a couple of car lengths, they just can't do anything with him. He is being consistent. He's running his line. Well, he is up front on the outside of the racetrack and doing his thing. He is making the guys behind him search for grip. And because they're taking a different line every single time, you're getting the result that you've seen. And that is Vincent going high into the fence. Adam Benefield going high into the fence. The 14 is beating them with consistency right now in front. 11 laps to go in Homestead. This next time by, caution with inside of the final 5 laps would end this race. A yellow before then would set us up for a late race shootout, but it is the 14 machine in front.
Now it's 3/4 of a second for Comstock over Vincent. Benefield, Cole, and now O'Rourke has moved around Anthony DeBarro for the 5th spot, but he's 5 seconds behind the leaders as Daniel Eberhardt, that was as dicey as it gets. He's on fresh tires here, trying to get a lap back in 17th. He pitted late in this race, and that is a moving bullet right there that everybody had to avoid, and Eberhardt coming through like a hot knife through butter. I think it rendered us all speechless for a half second here, Evan, because nobody saw him coming, and you snap your fingers, and there he is, and there he goes.
And you can see the tires because he just made a quick work at David Comstock in front of the field. And now with that number 90 machine coming down pit road, guys, he pitted with 22 laps to go, making that call. I don't think that Eberhardt would pit if these guys don't have to come down pit road. If Comstock, Vincent, and Benefield can't make it and they are thinking of pitting, then it looks like Daniel Eberhard just won this race because he has taken off. He's gotten his lap back. And again, it takes you about a lap to come down, get serviced, get back out. Well, Anani Bashida has unlapped himself. He is now less than a lap behind. So if you're the 14, the 13, the 83, and everybody else now, Jacob, if you're planning on pitting, Eberhard may have just beaten you.
We were all so focused on the battle for the lead, Evan, that I think we've completely overlooked the fact that these guys shouldn't be able to make it to the end. I mean, this battle for the lead's been electric for the last 30 laps, and yet all these guys that have pitted as Dwayne Vincent nearly runs into the back of the 22 of Doug Wyatt right there. I'm not sure now with Eberhard pitting when he did. If I'm the leaders, I'm really second-guessing whether I can make it now.
Well, I think if you pit at this point, you're going to lose the race because, like we said, Eberhard, he made up that ground. If Eberhard's behind you and you pit, you have a shot. He's gone. You're going to pit. You're going to be half a straightaway behind him. You're not going to win this race. So now, if you, as well as us, were too busy looking at the battle for the race lead, now you're stuck at a spot where you don't have an option. If you're Comstock, Vincent Benefield, and everybody else, you now have to go to the end with the fuel that you have on board. If you pit,
Trouble
you
back
lose.
straight away,
if you stay out, you got a shot.
Just went into the infield. He bought the wall hard off turn number 2, and I don't know how he didn't collect the 8 of Chad Cole. That was literally right in front of the championship leader, and it almost made for a complete disaster. Benefield gets away to the grass and somehow doesn't take anybody with him, but that's his shot at the win right there. Chad Cole able to get through, loses about a second to the race leaders, but it was almost the caution that nobody wanted to see.
And you mentioned that Adam Benefield, it's either the checkered flag or nothing, and he's not going to get the walk-off here tonight at Homestead, but he gave it everything that he had. 5 laps to go for David Comstock. Daniel Eberhard, first driver, 4 tires, 28 seconds back in 16th position. Can you make it? The 14 Bashid would not object to a yellow because now a yellow would end this race as we're within inside of the final 5. We'll go on board with Dwayne Vincent. We'll take a listen. Let's see how much gas he's given that Monster Energy Chevrolet in front of the field. Comstock leads. Vincent running second. Chad Cole in third. And that 8 machine on the high side of the racetrack. Just letting everybody go on by. I said that he probably didn't want to be too close, Andy, to Dwayne Vincent. And I also mentioned Adam Benefield, the way they were going at it. And it almost bit him there. Too close for comfort.
Yeah, it did almost bite him, but you can see these guys through the corners here really trying to save fuel now, trying to make it to the end, and Dwayne Vincent still trying to close the gap up plus save fuel, and they're going to have about 3 laps to go when they come by this time, so Comstock doing everything he can, clutching it through the corners. I doubt he tried to shut the thing off in case he couldn't get it started again, but he's definitely clutching, definitely trying to save fuel, but at the same time, he's got to save fuel, and he's got to maintain the distance.
3 laps to go that time by 16 drivers still on the lead lap. You see more fresh tires going up the inside for the 33 of Dale Rentz. He'll get a lap back from David Comstock behind, trying to stretch it to the end, and still none of these guys even taking a look down to the pit lane. And if you have to start saving, Dwayne Vincent is still there, only 1 second behind you. It's not like you're David Comstock working with a big gap. It's 1.2 seconds. If you run out, Dwayne Vincent can steal it from you. Even if you start to sputter, popsicle sticks fly that time by. Less than 5 miles to go. Comstock so close to hang it on.
Yeah, and this battle continues as now you got so much traffic, and Comstock, I think, is pretty well clear now as they work into 3 and 4 for the final time. The Monster, as we took to Full Throttle Cup Series season, is 1.5 miles away from season finale victories 2 years in a row. White Silk in the air, bail out for the final time around as it's a 1.5 seconds for David Comstock over Dwayne Vincent. Cole with the championship firmly in hand, but off too, it's Comstock trying to coast it home for the final time.
And a good effort tonight may jump that number 14 machine to the top 5 in the championship. It'll be his second win on the season. If he's got enough gas to get through 3 and 4 for the final time, he'll pick it back up. He'll lead the final 124 laps. Checkered flag in the air. David Comstock, winner at Homestead, and behind him, Chad Cole, going to come across the start-finish line as a 3-time RSR Icebreaker Winter Series champion with another top 3 finish to pad his impressive stats in the 2015-2016 campaign.
By the way, Evan, for the record books, Chad Cole is undefeated in the Icebreaker Winter Series because the only season he did not win, the 2014-2015 season a year ago, he didn't race it. That was the year in which David Comstock won the championship, and now the outgoing champion and the incoming champion touch doors in 3 and 4 as Cole and EJ O'Rourke get a door slam. The two teammates, EJ giving him a celebratory swipe. And now for Cole and Comstock, the dual celebrations begin on the front straightaway as EJ's doing donuts because he can. But Evan, if Chad Cole's legacy in RSR wasn't secure coming into tonight, we already knew it was. 69 wins, nobody better. Tonight, though, his legacy in the Icebreaker Series just became even more cemented. 3 championships, competitive seasons in this series. There's nobody better in this Xfinity car.
And I mentioned the top 3 tonight not only added to the stats this season, but it is his 181st career top 5 finish in RSR competition. And Chad Cole going to burn it down. He mentioned it was a small hiatus for him at RSR competition. Came back in 2015. Didn't quite have the run that he wanted. Full Throttle Cup Series side of things. But tonight and all season, he performed. He got the job done. And it is a well-deserved celebration as the DeWalt Toyota burns it down on the front straightaway. Your winner tonight is David Comstock, but Chad Cole, for the 3rd time, is your champion of the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series. So they'll burn it down and a championship stage to be brought out. So we'll be right back in a moment from Homestead at Miami Speedway for the LSRTV post-race show, but as well the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series Championship presentation. We'll be right back on iRacing Live. You're watching the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series presented by Hippie's Paint Shop from Homestead at Miami, Florida. This is LSRTV, the voice of sim racing.
The partnership with iRacing.com, originating with Grand Am Road Racing back in 2010, is involved to where it is today. The partnership with IMSA. We launched the iRacing.com online sports car championship, which made sense on a number of levels for IMSA. Many of our fans, in fact, many of our competitors in this series are avid iRacing sim racers, so the partnership was natural in that regard. The iRacing community clearly has an interest in motorsports, and this partnership allows us to showcase the uniqueness of our racing series and the strategy behind endurance racing. This is certainly one of the main goals of our partnership.
Our partnership with IMSA is perfect. It makes sense on many levels. IMSA is all about sports car racing, endurance racing, and that's something that iRacing has to offer. Events that are exactly like you'll find in IMSA. The Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, Watkins Glen 6 hours, and the Petit Le Mans event held at Road Atlanta. You can choose from the Corvette Daytona prototype or any number of the GT cars that we have to offer. The combination of those cars makes for great mixed class racing with variable speeds. The Corvette DP that's in iRacing is an exact model of the Whelen Corvette that races in the IMSA series. Eric Kern was very helpful in getting us data and all the bits and pieces that we needed to complete the project. All the tracks on iRacing are laser scanned, so they're exact replicas of what the real-world drivers get to experience in the IMSA series. You can race on nearly every track that IMSA drivers race on. Every bump, every crack, every curb is exactly the same as what the real-world drivers experience.
We're back live at the virtual Homestead of Miami Speedway for the post-race show as the Homestead 195 now drawing to a close round 10 of the 2015-2016 RSR Icebreaker Winter Series presented by Hippie's Paint Shop now behind us. And with that, another season of Icebreaker competition here on LSRTV draws to a close. David Comstock, your winner, Chad Cole, your champion. We'll talk to them in a moment. But first down pit side with our 2015 Full Throttle Cup Series champion at a P2 tonight. Andy Kessler, you're with Dwayne Vincent.
That's right. I am down here on pit road with the driver of the number 13, Dwayne Vincent. And Dwayne, congratulations. Second place finish here to end the season. Not the season you quite wanted. Had some rough starts there earlier on in the season, but able to come back here at the end, get a second place finish. Just looked like I had to save a lot of fuel there at the end and wasn't able to run down Dave.
No, really wasn't saving fuel. I think I beat the wall down too much, man. It just kept getting loose, and there was a bump out of 4 that I never knew was there. But when you'd hit that, it would shove the car up the track, and then you'd get loose and kind of bounce it off the wall. But I tried everything I could to catch him, but I think I just beat it up too much to do it. But it was a good run. That was a fun race.
Well, can you use this solid finish here tonight to get ready for next week? Obviously a different animal with the cars and all, but obviously going to defend your title in the Cup Series next week. What's this second place finish at least boost some confidence for you going into it?
A little bit. I mean, not a whole lot, man. It's a long, grueling season in the Cup Series. So you just got to be patient and take your time and see what happens.
There you have it. Obviously, getting a win and you're in kind of thing will make the first few races of the Cup Series all that important for you. But you finished it off a decent winter series, getting yourself in the top 10 in points and being able to recover from some bad finishes there earlier in the season. So second place finish here tonight. Anyone you want to thank, sponsor shout-outs?
My teammate Adam Benefield. He just told me he wasn't going to be running in RSR anymore. I'm going to miss running with him. Mom and Dad for watching at home. All you guys at LSRTV and everybody at RSR.
Well, we appreciate that, and we wish you the best of luck starting next week in the defense of your Cup Series title.
Thank you, sir.
There you have it. Second place finisher here tonight at Homestead, Dwayne Vincent. And now Jacob is caught up with Victory Lane with David Comstock.
Yeah, just to put a statistical reference in there, Dwayne Vincent with his runner-up finish tonight comes up 5th in the final championship, 41 points behind the man we'll talk to in a few minutes, Chad Cole. But in Gatorade Victory Lane, the guy that basically walked the dog from lap 6 all the way to the end, despite every challenge, David Comstock, that the rest of the field could throw at you. You led 125 laps straight from the time you took the lead to the end of this one and basically left the field in your dust. How good was this race car, and how good did you have to be with everybody? Cole, Vincent, Benefield, all these guys taking shot after shot at you and just not quite being able to get it done.
the car was just amazing. I liked the track to begin with, so that made it even more enjoyable to be running here today. And the car, it was on point. I could just put it wherever I wanted on the racetrack. It would just do what I wanted to do and just play the lines when I needed to go up to the top. If they got a run on me, I can just drive away off of the top through 1 and 2. I mean, 3 and 4, you're stuck to running down toward the bottom. There's no real upper lane to go to out there, but real dominant performance for us. We've had speed all year long. It's just we've been in wrong places and the wrong times, or just been in good places and just haven't been able to pull off results. So congratulations to Chad Cole. They ran a great race, great race all year long for them. So congratulations on the championship on them.
Talk me through some of those late race battles, because there was 1 or 2 times with, I think it was just under 20 laps to go, that you had both Dwayne and Adam right on you battling for the lead, and you never flinched. You were able to hang on to it and force them to try to go to the inside, which it just looked like that nobody could do, stay underneath you and be able to complete that pass like you did to get the lead all the way back at lap 6. Were you nervous at all when they would come at you like that?
Not necessarily. I didn't feel like I was nervous too much. I mean, I had that upper lane through 1 and 2 in my back pocket that I could go up there and run when need be. I just that last run, the first half of it, I was running the bottom through 1 and 2, and just I was trying to save my right front. I was getting reports that my right front was just getting more wear than the right rear, and just probably from having to keep the car wound up and running so much up through that upper lane, you're running more track. So just trying to conserve the car for the last run, making sure I had everything I need to go after and push hard when I needed to push hard, and we just hung on all the way up to the end.
A win tonight, momentum going into the Cup season as you look to claim that first title?
Absolutely. I mean, we're always feeling really good with the Cup car. I like driving that car more than the B car. It's more unless we get to one of the tracks where it's the temperatures are higher and you can start sliding around it's really, you're pretty much slot cars with these Xfinity cars we run here. But the Cup season, can't wait for that. Get started here. I think we're going next week for the shootout and the twin qualifying races for next week.
I know you can't do it by yourself. End the season with 2 wins, David. One more time, sponsors, shout-outs, supporters. Who makes it happen for you in the 14 team?
We'd like to thank everyone here at Timmy Hill Motorsports, and we combined allied forces this year in the Icebreaker with Four Wheels Racing with Chad and Lacrosse, and we ran strong all year, and it's good alliance we had going with us. So I can't thank those guys enough. EJ, my teammate here with Timmy Hill, and back at the main shop at Aftermath Motorsports, can't thank all those guys enough. And sponsors of Gary Mercer Trucking, Moss Energy, JD Laird Graphics, and EJ Brakes were just substantial all year long for us. And thank you guys for broadcasting all season long here on Live Sim Racing TV and Real Sim Racing for providing the league for us to run.
And by the way, that alliance that David spoke of, 4 of the top 6 positions in the final point standings, including the one that matters for the 3rd time in his career in the Icebreaker Winter Series, the driver of the number 8 DeWalt entry, Chad Cole, a champion again. And we're going to throw it from Gatorade Victory Lane down to the front straightaway where the Icebreaker Championship trophy is set up. And Evan Pasoko down with our champion, Chad Cole, as well as league administrator, John Abbott. Evan?
Yeah, he wants to get his hands on that hardware, so without further ado, we'll pass the mic over to John Abbott, league administrator here with Real Sim Racing at RealSimRacing.com. John, we'll hand it over to you to give the championship out to our 2015-2016 champion.
Thank you, Evan. I appreciate it. What a year we had. Great turnout. Just another really fabulous Icebreaker series. And again, Chad Cole shows his strength in being fast and consistent. So without further ado, Chad, on behalf of the administration, sponsors, drivers, and LSRTV, like to present you the 2016 Icebreaker Winter Series Ice Crystal Trophy.
That's awesome. I really appreciate it, John. It's been a fun ride these last 4 or 5 years calling RSR home, and to get number 3 in the Icebreaker series really really great. It's a pretty amazing product we have with the Icebreaker series this year. We had 9 different winners in 10 races, and competition in all the series we have just never been tougher. It's really really great to walk away with this one.
Well, I know, I know you took a break there for a while, which we all need to do from time to time, and it took a little while to get back, get to the feel of the car again. And it seems like through the Winter Series here in Icebreaker and Outlaw Truck Series, it seems like you're starting to get the feel again, and that just means one thing: that's going to be bad news for the rest of the drivers in Full Throttle Cup. So anyway, I know you're looking forward to that series starting next week.
Yeah, absolutely. It was just definitely a struggle last year. I think I got to talk to the LSR crew about 2 different times a year, and it was kind of like learning the sim all over again, being away from a year. And I'm happy to get some kind of vibe going again. Hopefully, we can carry it into Full Throttle. It's 2 completely different cars, and still up for more challenges down the road with you guys.
Well, just like in real life, the series champion is an ambassador of the sport and in the league, and you're definitely that. And from day one, that Real Sim Racing's been back in or in the iRacing service. Since you've come on board, you've really been a good ambassador of the league and professional and a great champion. So congratulations.
Yeah, thank you much, John.
I want to hop in here, Chad Cole, our 2015-2016 RSR Icebreaker Winter Series champion. And Chad, you were reluctant to embrace it when Jacob mentioned it to you there after the checkered flag. But not only is this your 3rd championship, but it's your 3rd time in 3 tries. And for a series that we have the same conversation every year, we talk about the new talent, Tyler Herr, walking away in the top 3 in the championship this year, one of the rookies to keep an eye on, as well as many other names. We'll have the same conversation at the start of 2017 as well. But every single year, the competition continues to grow and it continues to get more intense, even in this Icebreaker Winter Series as well as with the Full Throttle Cup Series. And somehow, you always find your way out on top.
Yeah, it's just finding that consistency. Just trying to race the track and trying to be there at the end, preserve yourself, and it has a lot of fun racing with all these guys, Dwayne, Benefield tonight, and Comstock, and really a lot of fun racing with EJ. Is a good battle with them, and it's kind of nice getting to know those guys through this Icebreaker series. Comstock and EJ were a lot of fun to hang out with and shoot the breeze, and yeah, you just never know who's gonna pop in. Yeah, Tyler Herr definitely caught us off guard a bit. He showed a lot of speed. So did the 70 and 69 cars. There's a lot of fun mixing it up with those guys, and I look forward to that again in Full Throttle.
By the numbers, one of the closest championships. If you compare you and EJ throughout the season, you walk away with the title by 7 points. You both started all 10 races. Each of you get a win. You best him by 1 top 5. He bests you by 1 top 10. And you beat his average finish by .01 positions on the racetrack. Going at it with a guy like EJ, and the way that you guys both performed this season, coming down to the final race, is that the way you would have wanted it? And how did you assess how you did performance-wise? Obviously getting the championship as well, but you had a lot of pressure. These guys didn't let you run away with it by any means.
Yeah, it didn't really start off with a whole lot of pressure. It kind of I wasn't actually checking the points at all until someone mentioned it about 5 races in, and I'll admit I check the points every once in a while after the race. Then, but just kind of doing my thing, try to get them as they come, and I know EJ had troubles too, and it's just trying to be there at the end of the races, and it was really a lot of fun.
Tonight, your 181st career top 5 at RSR competition and your 3rd RSR Icebreaker Winter Series Championship. Chad, I know there's plenty of people behind the scenes that make this possible. So for one final time, and tonight at Homestead, from atop the championship stage, the sponsors, the shout-outs, all of those good folks, who do you want to give a thanks to?
Yeah, of course, we need to send some love to Laura Lawson, battling lymphoma and going through chemo treatments recently. We're thinking about you, Laura. Be strong. And need to give a shout out to Matt Lacrosse, teammate, and Joey Jatina. You know, he kind of we're getting up to Daytona last year. He's like, I got an open spot in the team, and we need someone. So he kind of nudged me into it. I wasn't really ready, but I'm glad I came back. It's been a lot of fun racing with all these guys, Comstock, EJ, Jimmy North, and Justin Michael as well, hanging with those guys. And you folks at LSRTV do the awesome job with the broadcast. Love watching the broadcast you guys do. Of course, John Abbott for really kind of being in charge of RSR, kind of really taking this thing to another level every single time.
Well, I will say, Chad, that it was good to see you back at RSR, and it was a pleasure to watch you do your thing. And on behalf of everybody at LSR TV, we want to congratulate you on your 2015-2016 RSR Icebreaker Winter Series presented by Hippie's Paint Shop Championship. Go enjoy it, and we'll see you soon.
I appreciate it a lot, guys. Thank you.
Chad Cole, for the 3rd time, stands on top of the RSR Icebreaker Winter Series, guys, and I don't think that we would have rather seen this go any other way. Battle to the end, into this race, 3 points. Chad Cole, EJ O'Rourke going hard at the end, and while it is a Winter Series, it is a life of its own, and this is just a teaser for what we're going to be seeing for the rest of 2016.
Oh yeah, Evan. Duels and the shootout for RSR Full Throttle Cup next Monday night, which we'll at least be keeping an eye on to give you a report when it comes in 2 Mondays' time. The season opening race for the 2016 Full Throttle Cup Series at Daytona International Speedway. The grind is set to begin again. You know Chad Cole's going to be a contender. I'm looking forward to it. Let's go.
Ready to head to Daytona, Andy. It was a fun championship. Chad Cole, 181 top 5s. It's safe to say that he's pretty good.
Yeah, I would definitely say that when you start looking at the stats and entering 3 Icebreaker series and winning all 3 of them, I mean, that's just amazing right there. And I'd hate, if he didn't take the off year last year, who would have known he might be 4 straight. So it's just awesome to see that. And I'm excited to see all the rookies that had a great season this year in Icebreaker and the way they're going to put this up into the Full Throttle Cup season.
One of the best of all time in RSR is the best this season. And as another year of Icebreaker competition draws to a close, I have to thank all of the sponsors: Gary Mercer Truck at iRacing.com, Disabled Racers, Derek Spear Designs, and Race Chaser Online, as well as Gary Mercer Trucking and Hippie's Paint Shop for coming on full time. Go to RealSimRacing.com for more information, and you can stay up to date with everything on LSRTV on our website at www.LiveSimRacing.com or on Facebook at facebook.com/LiveSimRacingTV. However, until next time, on behalf of everybody at LSR TV, for myself, Evan Pasoko, Jacob Silva, Andy Kessler, Cisco Scaramuza, and the rest of the team, congratulations to David Comstock, but congratulations, Chad Cole, your 2015-2016 Real Sim Racing Icebreaker Winter Series champion. Tonight at Homestead, we bid you good night from the Sunshine State, and we'll see you right back here in 2 Mondays' time for the season opener of the 2016 RSR Full Throttle Cup Series, only on iRacing Live at LSR TV, the voice of sim racing.